Hey guys, what's going on? I'm ShortySX, and today I'm bringing you episode 6 of my quickscoping tips. Now, today we're focusing on how to stay alive. And, well, unlike Sea Nanners, I'm not going to start off by singing the Bee Gees, but, well, cool song either way. But anyway, today we're talking about how to stay alive, and the gameplay you're watching is a 29 for 2 on Black Box. First off, haha to all the jokes about 30 kills from last video. To be honest, I didn't quite get that one, but if someone wants to explain it to me, that'd be great. But either way, it'll make the perfect gameplay for this topic, which is how to stay alive, or how to mm, survive longer, or just be a harder target to hit overall. Because a lot of you have been asking that, and I thought it'd make a great, little tutorial. Now, of course, find a host that doesn't leave, but haha, that one's obvious. So, this is also a bit of a continuation of episode 3, where we talked about radars, corners, and cover, which is very, very essential to, being or staying alive. So, maybe go check that out if you haven't already. There will be a link at the top. But, the first thing I want to kind of discuss today, or the first idea I want to plant in your head, is you have to develop this kind of like an internal processor or internal danger meter. Basically, imagine this little alarm in your head that goes off every time you're in danger, and you're also able to assess that danger. Like, let me give you an example. Like, for example, one, the lowest possible danger would be imagine yourself in the corner of the map with only one entrance to you, which you're already watching with your PP90 and you're aiming down your sights. Like, that should be like, I couldn't be more safe type of feeling and, danger meter situation. On the other hand, picture yourself, let's say in the middle of Hard Hat, right next to the pipe with 5 enemies running towards you. That should be your, like, 10 danger level when you're like, maybe I should get the beep out of here. Exactly. Okay, so now that we've established the boundaries, try and picture yourself in a situation where you always have this meter in your head, and try and think of it as a little alarm for when to leave. Because obviously the higher the danger meter, the faster you should be aiming to get out of there and, disappear or go into a low danger area and survive. Now, this concept, or the concept I'm going to try and teach you, is actually once again from football because, alright, like for example, QBs, right? What you basically have to do is you have to have this like internal clock for just how long you have before you throw the ball. Of course, there, your motivation is not really getting one more death on your stats, it's the 300-pound linebacker who you don't want to get hit by. So, that works a lot better for me. But either way, it's the same type of concept. Like, you have to have this little internal clock for just how long you could stay in a situation and expect to survive. So obviously, if you run through the middle of the map and you're just kind of like firing bullets and letting everyone know you're there, this clock should be going off and you should be like, leave. So, let's talk about what actually develops your clock, or, what are some things you should watch out for. Now, the first one is getting shot from behind, and I want to start off with that one because it's especially important. Now, the thing is, as much as some people think some players have, eyes on the back of their heads and stuff because they always seem to get people behind them, that's really not the case. Like, obviously no one can see behind them, and that's the whole annoying, frustrating part about it, because none of us can actually see behind. And the whole point there is that you're most vulnerable from behind. Like, even if you're so much faster that you could turn around and shoot the guy, unless you know he's there, or unless you're covered up, he can still get you. So, the one little drill I want you to, like, imagine is just, at all times, imagine that there is a guy perfectly behind you who's trying to kill you. At all times. He's just there, you can't, like, turn around and kill him. Just imagine there's always someone behind you trying to kill you. What that's supposed to make you do is, for example, run behind, like, if there's a pillar in front of you, run around it. Run around it in such a way that if there were anyone behind you, then the pillar would be covering you. And do that with all types of furniture or anything you see around you. Basically, the only idea there is that if you pretend like there's someone behind you trying to kill you, then when there is actually someone there trying to kill you, you will be better covered. Now, this has saved my life a lot. And while you may have not noticed it so far, if you actually watch my gameplays and watch for it, you will see that I do it all the time. Like, I will always get around cover and not really be in the most vulnerable spot. The same applies to drop shotting. Like, for example, if you're right in the absolute middle of the, open area or something, and all of a sudden some person appears next to you, drop shotting is, well, basically your best chance to cover that. if there's a car or anything around you that's better, go for it, jump behind that, because that'll be nice. But if there's nothing else, drop shot. That's why I do it all the time. It decreases the surface area of, it it gives your opponent a harder shot because you have that much smaller area to worry about. So do that kind of stuff. Always pretend there's someone trying to shoot you from all directions, and you'll do a lot better. Now, of course, along with that goes something like, don't announce yourself to the enemy. And there are many different ways to do that. Like, for example, firing and missing shots when you're obviously not using a silencer, but even if you are, like, that's a big, like, danger radar, like, alert type of thing. Like, if you fire a couple of shots, especially in free-for-all or something like that, you're popping up on the map. Even if the guy in front of you who's trying to kill you is, not alert to your presence and now has a better idea of how to kill you, there are tons of people around you who now see you as, oh, look, there's a target, let's go kill him. So if you fire a shot or something, get out of there. Just go away. Make sure you're once again a mystery so no one can predict where you are. That's the whole idea. It's the same with footsteps, for example. Like, even if you're using Dead Silence Pro, that's great if you are. Like, I do too. But don't forget there's people running around with sitrep, which cancels that silence. So, you can't depend on stuff like that. So always be thinking, okay, what if there is a guy on the other side of this wall who can hear me? How would I approach him? What would I expect to happen? Like, you always have to be like one step ahead of your enemy in whatever you're doing. If you do that, then you have the upper hand. Otherwise, they will have the upper hand. Now, on that note is, being seen. Now, it's a bit of an obvious one, like, try to make sure your enemy doesn't see you, but there's certain ways that, produce better results. Like, for example, if you're running through the middle of the map, you're clearly, a very easy to spot target. On the other hand, if you're moving slowly along the edge of the map, or let's say a wall, you're a much harder target to spot. Like, do those types of things. Like, you don't always have to hug the wall, and obviously don't just crawl around, because that has its own downsides. But make sure you're not just running around aimlessly, forgetting to think and forgetting to be careful. Now, just because it's, just came up, another little point. If you're blinking red, like if you've just been hit, or if you've just been shot and you're on red health, that doesn't mean like, oh, okay, you're about to die, you still have more health, go, go, go. No, that actually means slow the fuck down. Like, take a chill pill, go somewhere, reload, recover that. In Call of Duty, you recover health extremely fast. So if you're blinking red, that probably means that you either got lucky shotted or, just sprayed by one bullet from your opponent's, automatic machine gun or whatever the hell they're using. But the point is, don't go out there while you're still in red, because then just another one of those, either lucky or not or whatever, bullets is going to kill you, and you don't want to risk that. Just wait the 2 seconds, recover the health, go back out there. Perfect time to reload or maybe get some cover, rethink your strategy. So always try and, like, keep your mind open to these things. Like, am I making noise? Is someone gonna kill me? And process your surroundings. Like, when you enter a room, be thinking like, if I were to get shot right now, where would it happen from? Or, are there any spawns around me? Should I maybe stay away from them or be ready for someone to pop out? Those types of things. Now, the last little thing before this game kind of runs down, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm not that far from a Moab. Haha. But, the last little thing I want to talk about is, and a few people actually asked this, and it's a great question. What do you do against campers or, like, let's say long-range snipers who are just sitting on the other side of the map trying to hardscope you the entire time? The answer is, they suck. As in, they don't suck, like, everyone's welcome to play their own way and stuff like that, but there's very little you can do about them. Especially a camper who's just sitting in a corner, not moving, staring at the door, already in ADS. Like, he has a huge advantage over you. So, the only question, or the way, like, I approach it myself, and the way I guess I'd advise you guys to approach it is, when you die to a camper, just ask yourself, is it a good idea for me to learn from this and to check that corner in the future? So basically what that should end up with is, if you get shot from the same place, like over and over, like let's say back on Hardhat, behind that little pipe, in the middle. If there's someone camping there a couple of times, like, start expecting him there. Like, start checking those corners. On the other hand, if there's someone camping in the very, very corner of the map where you've never really seen anyone camp, it may not be the greatest idea to check that corner. So you just gotta decide what's worth it and what's not. There's really no better way of doing it. As for people trying to shoot you long range and hard scoping, just remember, you're not the easiest target to hit. So just move around as much as possible left to right, not forward towards them, but like at a 90-degree angle to where they're looking from. Make sure you're a hard target. Speaking of a hard target, there I am sitting in the middle and one kill away from my Moab. One kill. Urgh! And, well, will he get my final kill cam? I think not. Anyway, as I said, 29 for 2. A little frustrating because one kill, man. Come on. No, it's all right. That's what I mean. Learn from this kind of stuff. Like there, the clock was running down, and that's why I was being a bit more aggressive. But yeah, standing in the middle of the house just waiting for someone to pop me, not the best idea. So I hope this helped you guys out. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the quickscope tutorial if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.